In case you've been living in a cave and missed the news that Newcastle United has been purchased by Saudi Arabia, never mind the fact that I'm livid at the prospect that one of the most iconic and the most prestigious football clubs has been rendered as nothing more than the propaganda mouthpiece of a despotic regime. Today, I'm gonna talk about how this alliance, this marriage between Saudi Arabia and Newcastle United is simply not gonna work out the same way it worked out at Manchester City and PSG. Now, let's take Chelsea for example. Chelsea kickstarted the Roman Abramovich era with a 187 million spent in one summer in the 2003-2004 season, bringing in the likes of Makelele, Juan Sebastian Veron, Crespo, and Adrian Mutu. However, out of all of these transfers, only Claude Makelele really stands out as an elite type of signing. And the reason for that is because his club, Real Madrid, wanted to get rid of him. Because Florentino Perez was building his Galactico and he just didn't believe that Claude Makelele had that quality. He preferred offensive attacking players like Figo and Zidane and Ronaldo and Raul and Beckham, but he did not think that Makelele had that quality. However, what he didn't understand is that for those flair players to shine, you need a ball winner, you need an anchor in midfield. And Chelsea understood that. So they paid 22 million pounds to bring him to Chelsea, and what a transfer that was. However, players like Crespo and Juan Sebastian Veron, for example, were past it, right? If you take Manchester City, for example, well, they spent a fair amount of money as well in their first major transfer window, which was in 2011-2012. Now, how about Manchester City? Well, they did pretty much the same thing. In the 2010-2011 season, they ended up spending pretty much the same thing or close to the same amount of money that Chelsea has spent, bringing in the likes of Dzeko, Yaya Toure, and Silva. Kolarov as well, right? But out of these, what's really interesting is that Yaya Toure is like the Makelele equivalent for Chelsea, who is another talented player that Barcelona wanted to get rid of. Never would a club like Manchester City, who has never won a league title, would be able to attract prime Yaya Toure to the Etihad Stadium. And yet they were able to do it because Barcelona wanted to sell Yaya Toure. They wanted to get rid of him. They didn't think that he fit the tiki-taka style of play that Pep Guardiola wanted to play, so they wanted to sell him, right? But players like David Silva especially are really shrewd signings, you know, because he came from a big club like Valencia. He came for a fair amount of money. However, we know how talented he is, right? And so that stands out as a key signing that Manchester City made during that time. And the next summer, obviously they brought in Kun Aguero for 44 million pounds, who ended up being a legend at the club, right? But Kun Aguero only came because Manchester City were seen as credible title contenders, and they were more and more consistent in getting into the Champions League group stages, which a club like Newcastle United is not any close to be at that level. You know, they are not gonna consistently get into the Champions League group stages. So unless they can prove that over a number of seasons, never are they going to be able to attract the likes of Makelele, Yaya Toure, or Aguero. So what does that have to do with Newcastle United? Well, it's gonna be very difficult for Newcastle United to replicate what Chelsea and Manchester City did. And the main reason for that is that transfer fees and wages are so inflated right now. That means that while Manchester City and Chelsea were able to get quality players, and quite a few of them, 4, 5, or 6 quality players every year for 150 to 100 million pounds, Newcastle United cannot do that. In the current market, 150 million pounds cannot get you that much. It can't get you that much quality, and definitely not title-winning quality. Manchester United has been spending 150 million pounds every year for the past 10 years, and they haven't got much quality into the squad. So you might say, well, why doesn't Newcastle just use relativity and just, okay, if Manchester City and Chelsea used the 150, 180 million mark, why can't we just spend 300, 350 million mark, okay, to accommodate and to make up for the inflation of the transfer fees and the wages that the market currently suffers from? Well, I'm gonna give you 2 reasons why. And the first reason is called PSG in 2017. PSG in 2017 spent around 240 million pounds on just 2 players. One of those players is Yuri Berchiche, and the second player is, yes, Neymar, right? And during that year, they also signed Kylian Mbappe. However, they signed him on a loan. That means they got him from Monaco, but they only paid Monaco in 2018, right? So they had to go through certain loopholes in order for them to buy more players than they could buy under financial fair play. Same thing with Manchester City in 2017. They spent also around 240, 250 million pounds in order to bring in the likes of Danilo, Walker, Ederson, Bernardo Silva, right? Mendy as well, right? But they could not spend any more than that. Not only that, but these two clubs who have deep pockets, who are backed by oil money, gas money in the case of PSG, they could not actually go beyond the 250 million mark. Not only that, both of them had to actually sell players. Both of them, Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain, generated over 100 million pounds each. Paris Saint-Germain sold the likes of Aurier, for example, and Matuidi, while Manchester City sold the likes of Nolito, Boni, and Iheanacho, right? So they had to sell 100 million pounds worth of talent in order for them to afford the 250 million pounds worth of talent that they did. Which raises the question, in the case of Newcastle United, who can they sell? Who can they sell? But the only sellable player they have is probably Alain Saint-Maximin. And if you sell your best player, that's not the best way to build a squad. You know, you can't really sell Alain Saint-Maximin. How are you going to get a player of his quality right now in this Newcastle team? And that's going to be even harder if they get relegated. So, what should Newcastle United do? Well, I think that they should follow a more sustainable model. Something similar to German clubs like RB Leipzig and Borussia Dortmund, or Leicester and Brentford in England, which is to focus on youth. Focus on potential more than focusing on the now, because focusing on the now is simply unrealistic for Newcastle United. However, if they focus on youth and they bring up their own young players who are currently 20 to 23, let's say, and then build them into becoming a very, very good Premier League team in 2 or 3 years, that's a much more realistic prospect. Okay, so if they focus on bringing in these players who are good, but they are still not stars, can actually be one of the best ways that Newcastle United could actually use their prestige as a football club, plus add in the cash from the Saudi takeover in order for them to build a young, exciting team. Okay, so they would easily be able to outbid other big clubs, because big clubs may not be as desperate as Newcastle are, so they would not be willing to spend, double the price on a player, or for example triple the salary of a 19 or 20-year-old. But Newcastle could. And with those big contracts, they would be able to attract those younger players and then have a much stronger squad and much stronger starting 11. Definitely not this summer, but definitely in 2 years' time. So here I'm gonna give some transfer suggestions that Newcastle United should look into. Okay, now 6 transfers, and I'm gonna focus on the first 2. And the reason for that is because they are free, and I believe they are very, very good players who would fit Newcastle United. The first one is my boy at Manchester United, Jesse Lingard. He's gonna be available on a free. He's definitely not gonna sign a new contract at Manchester United. West Ham likes him a lot, but I think Newcastle could outbid West Ham. They could just make Jesse Lingard the 200k a week type of player. I'm sure that he's gonna go to Tyneside, definitely. And he's a good player. Listen, as a Manchester United fan, I can tell you that he hasn't been used properly at Manchester United. The other one is James Tarkovsky. James Tarkovsky is a very good defender. He's extremely underrated, and he's a good no-nonsense type of defender. You know, he just gets the ball, he wins those headers. He's a very good defender when you need a defender that does the basics, right? And I think him and Jamal Lascelles in the heart of the Newcastle defense could actually be a very, very solid pair. In the right back position, I'm going for Max Aarons. There is a huge chance that Norwich may get relegated this season, and if they do, I think 20-25 million pounds would be enough to get Max Aarons from them. And he's a top right back. He's young, he's very skillful, very athletic, very energetic, and I think he's the kind of exciting player that the St. James Park crowd would love. On the left-hand side, as a new left back for Newcastle United, I'm going for Owen Weinel, and he's an AZ Alkmaar player, 19 years old, very attacking, a fly-in type of left back, very good at dribbling, very good at crossing, and he's just 19, and his agent is Mino Raiola. Now, one thing that Mino Raiola loves is cash. Money. Mino Raiola loves Saudi Arabia. And the next Mino Raiola player on this list is actually Ryan Gravenberch from Ajax, who is an amazing central midfielder. I want him at Manchester United. I believe that he is pound for pound the best Paul Pogba replacement out there. And him and Willock in that Newcastle midfield with Jesse Lingard right in front of them, come on, that's top 8 type of quality right there. And I think that Newcastle would be elevated to the next level with Gravenberch in their midfield. Now let's move on to more attacking options. I'm going with Ismail Assar from Watford. If Watford do get relegated this season, which is likely, then Ismail Assar would be available for something between 30 to 40 million pounds. And what a player. He's very skillful, attacking type of player. Again, similar to Alain Saint-Maximin in his directness. He's skillful, but he still has a little more goals. He's more of a goal threat than Alain Saint-Maximin is. So I think that he would be the perfect fit at Newcastle United. And people at Newcastle United fans, they love their number 9s. You know, when you look at Alan Shearer and Faustino Asprilla, right? They love their center forwards, right? When you are a good center forward in Newcastle, you are a legend, right? And so I think that the one who is worthy of being Newcastle United center forward is Alexander Isak from Real Sociedad. I think he would easily be one of the most expensive players. He would definitely take a huge fee to price him from Real Sociedad, but I think that if they do, they will get a serious player in their hands. And why wouldn't he move? I think Real Sociedad right now, they are in the top 3, top 4, I think in La Liga. They are a solid side, but Newcastle United does have money, and I think that a player like Alexander Isak is still not ready to move to a club like Manchester United or Bayern Munich, for example, or Real Madrid. I think that they still have people filling those positions, so I think that he may wait for another 3 or 4 years. Hence, Newcastle United. Newcastle could just be the perfect stepping stone for him to get to those positions, and then in the meantime, Newcastle could be getting an amazing number 9. So this is what I think the Newcastle lineup could look like by the end of this season, and I think that it would make Newcastle much better proposition than what we have been seeing these past few seasons. And I think that these transfers are much more realistic than what's being mooted in the press lately. So if you agree with me or disagree with me, please make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Please also make sure to like this video, and please subscribe to the channel. That's the best way you can support a new channel like this one. Okay, so everybody, please take care, and if I don't see you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Cheers.